A new episode of the Sean Whitmer podcast. Recording this on a March 15th, Monday. That was a weird way to say that, but that is the day it is. It's March 15th. It's Monday, and the NCAA tournament brackets are out. Oh, yeah. If you're watching the video, you can see how I have my bracket right here because I'm always going to have one at the ready for the next 4 weeks of my life. How was your weekend? Thanks for tuning in. Okay, there's stuff to get to today. The stuff to get to today. I feel old. I want to get to that for multiple reasons. And I feel like there was something else that I wanted to talk to besides feeling old. There is. Is it just me going to be talking about feeling old today? Is that all? Is that all that's happening? Maybe. I guess you'll have to stick around and find out. Kudos, state of Washington, the state I live in. We are getting closer and closer to being able to be out and about, events happening. I think we're about to be at phase 3. I don't understand what all the phases are, but I believe at phase 3, restaurants increased to 50% capacity. So a step closer to local restaurants having local restaurants that are still around surviving this pandemic, global pandemic. We're getting closer. Gosh, I feel bad for them. We're trying our best to make sure we're getting to the local restaurants. We went to one on Sunday morning and got a little brunch action. And I just feel bad. I feel bad. You know, the places are full for what they're allowed to be, which is right now about 25%. And so you'll walk into a place. We were talking about it. Well, it was yesterday because you walk into the restaurant and you go, "Oh, good, all the tables are full. This is great. The place is full. They're doing well." And then you look and you go, "Oh, they have 3 tables here. Wonderful. Yeah, they're full because there's no one allowed to be in this restaurant." So we're getting close. State of Washington getting close. They also announced Mariners games are going to be happening this year at 25% capacity to start, which sparked Twitter to get so funny with the truly witty joke about how Safeco or T-Mobile or whatever the park is, there's only ever 25% full anyways. So those were really funny jokes, but it's good news that the Mariners are going to have games, so things are happening. Concerts are being talked about. State of Washington looking pretty good, which I like a lot. So that was some good news heading into the weekend. I think overall a pretty good weekend was had with the good news backing it. I will say I've enjoyed driving around and seeing what bars are doing. And this is something that I want to look back on at some point in my life and say I lived through this part of American history. We're back in the original Roaring 20s. Was it early 20s that Prohibition was going on? And you had to have speakeasies. You had to have hidden bars. People couldn't just go to the bar. Everything had to be hidden bars. I always assumed they were behind bookshelves. And that was the 1920s. Now in the 2020s, because bars have capacity limits, a bunch of them here in town have just sprayed the inside of their windows with that Christmas frost. The frost you put on your windows or the fake frost you put in your windows during Christmas to really make it pop, make it look like Santa's been there, make it look like Frosty the Snowman can live inside your business. The bars here in town have just sprayed their windows so that you can't see in because they're hiding how many people they have inside. And it is one of my favorite things where I don't know if they think they're being sneaky or not, but it is great. There's 2 or 3 of them here in town that I can think of off the top of my head that I've just seen in the last 3-4 days. It's hilarious. And that's the era that I'm living through right now. Okay. Let's start real quickly with March Madness. This is not an in-depth sports breakdown. This is just a generic breakdown of March Madness. I've got my bracket printed out. It's one of my favorite things every year is to print out an empty bracket and have my official bracket be this one, where I've handwritten in while they are announcing it, while Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis and the main guy. I can't remember the main guy's name. Is it Brian or Greg Gumbel? Greg Gumbel? I think it's Greg Gumbel. Let me look. I want to give him credit because he does a really good job, and I get the brothers mixed up. Greg Gumbel. Bryant Gumbel was on just simply news on the Today Show, and Greg Gumbel does sports. That's a very successful family right there. I'll tell you what. So Greg Gumbel's announcing teams. He's doing it in such a great way. He is in the world of sports. I get to this point where guys like Dick Vitale, guys like Bill Rafferty, really good classic announcers, all-timers, Hall of Famers, people that I've loved on television, I've loved watching. I'm at the point with a lot of them where I'm ready for them to be done, not because I hate them. I'm not an anti-Dick Vitale guy. I'm an anti-old Dick Vitale guy because I want young people to be able to get in and start building their way in this sports medium. I'm ready for the young people to come in and be the next Dick Vitales, the next Bill Rafferty's. And as long as Dick Vitale and Bill Rafferty hang on, it doesn't leave an opening for the young kids, and you miss generations of potential. Anyways, Greg Gumbel would be the one guy I would say is timeless for me because he has been the bracket guy forever. And I think he just does a great job. And I would have him do it until eternity. I would have them clone him and just he's cloned, or they just make a robot of him and they bring it out. They wheel the robot out around March 10th, between March 10th and March 15th every year to announce the brackets. Then they wheel the robot back into the storage shed and bring him out once a year for that. That's all I need from Greg Gumbel, the robot Greg Gumbel, once real Greg Gumbel decides he wants to retire and call it quits. Okay, anyways, I print my bracket off. I like to write everything down, and then that's my bracket. I'll fill in, I'll make my predictions. I'll have 2 handwritten brackets. I'll have the handwritten bracket that I did yesterday, where I will keep it, and I'll fill that one in as teams win. And then I'll have my handwritten bracket, write all the teams down again, and then I will make my predictions. So I'll have those 2 handwritten brackets. I know it's super easy just to print them off of the internet with everything printed. They look, with all the teams inserted, that they look really nice and clean. But I've done this since forever. There was a year, I think I was a sophomore in high school. I went through and I filled out the bracket, and then I went through on a notebook, 64 pages of notebook. I wrote down all the seeds, all the teams, and then I challenged myself. I remember I challenged myself when I was younger. I thought this was real cool to know what conference every team was in. I quizzed myself on what every team was in, but then I also wrote down the starting lineup for every one of the 64 teams. And my goal between the week of, because half the teams I had never seen play before, I was in 10th grade. My goal between Sunday and Thursday was to memorize the starting lineup of every single team. And I think I had it on my sophomore year. I think I could go through my sophomore year to really win over the hearts of the ladies. If you had asked me in 1997, if you had said, hey, Sean, who starts for Old Dominion? I could have told you that year because I was so nerdy about it. And I remember I would sit there in school, and this is what I would do the entire week. I'd think of the bracket. I'd memorize the bracket, just because I'd written it so many times. And then I would sit there in class and not listen, and I would pick a random 13 seed and go, okay, Vermont. Who's the starting 5 players from Vermont? I try to remember them and write them down. And that was what I would do for an entire week. I love the tournament. I love the brackets. This weekend, local fans, Saturday is our day. Eastern plays Saturday morning. Let's go, Eags. Congratulations to Big Sky Conference Player of the Year, Tanner Groves, and his teammates, Coach Shante Leggins. Congrats. They're going to the NCAA tournament for the 3rd time. Love it. Freaking love it. So mad there's no way to really go out there and watch it. But they'll play Kansas on TBS Saturday morning at 10:15. I'm so hyped for it. I love this. They're my favorite. They're my favorites going in. They're who I cheer for the most. So go Eagles. They play against one of the best basketball programs in the history of college basketball. And Kansas has some COVID issues, so maybe not a full strength Kansas team. Tanner Groves, let's go. We got some big dogs. All it takes is a hot shooting day. Okay. All it takes is a hot shooting day and a cold shooting day. And I love Eastern, and I love Eastern's players. And I root for them every year in, year out. I'm not oblivious to the fact that Kansas is on a different level than Eastern Washington University in terms of who you get to play there and how that works. But doggone it, it's March, and so I believe anything can happen. So Shante Leggins, get out there, get a win Saturday morning, and we'll watch you on Monday as well. Gonzaga plays Saturday night. They play against the winner of Norfolk State and Appalachian State, I think that is. That's a play-in game on Thursday. And the Zags will play, I want to say 6:15 on TBS on Saturday. But Eastern plays Saturday, Gonzaga plays Saturday. Big week. It's weird. The tournament this year is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday for the first round as opposed to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. which is interesting because it means Eastern and Gonzaga, if they both win, they'll play again Monday, which means I'm not working Monday. If Eastern and Gonzaga both win on Saturday, you're going to get a 0% effort out of me in any kind of working capacity on Monday. First of all, it's Monday, so I'm already out. And second of all, my favorite basketball teams will be playing, so I'm double out. Okay, that was very quick tournament talk that lasted 8 minutes. I'm just real excited about it. I wanted to do two other things real quick. The oldness in me is all the way in. We had my brother and his wife in town this weekend. Travis's birthday was on Thursday. They came to town. They actually came into town because they had a photo shoot for their one-year-old daughter, one-year-old photo shoot. And they came over to town, so Travis and I hung out. We stayed up super late Friday night, stayed up super late Saturday night. I was tired. How about this? Sunday night, last night, I really wanted to watch the Grammys because I love award shows. I really wanted to watch the Grammys, so I was recording them to watch them at nighttime. I was in bed at 7:57 p.m. 7:57 p.m. I was in bed. I was probably asleep by 8:15 p.m. And I thought, that is so embarrassing. Then I thought, that's even more embarrassing considering yesterday was the first day of daylight savings time. So my brain was really at 6:57 p.m. when I went to bed. 6:57 on Sunday night is when I went to bed. In my mind, really the actual time 7:57, but no way my brain had already done that kind of math in 24 hours. My brain is not that fast and that smart. So that's where I'm at in terms of age. I didn't get to watch the Grammys last night. I wanted to because I wanted to talk about them today. I truly love award shows, but the ultimate reason, more than going to sleep early, more than the fact that I tried to noodle arm a couple basketballs, little Tykes rubber tiny basketballs for an indoor basketball hoop for a kid. I noodle armed those things to throw them from the front of my house to the back of my house and didn't clear the roof with either of them, and they both rolled into my neighbor's yard. Besides that fact of being old, besides the fact that I went to bed at 6:57 mental time last night, I don't relate to the Grammys anymore, and this is a bad thing. I love current music. I love it. I am not ever going to be the person who hates on current kids. What are they? The kids listen to crap these days. When I was a kid, everything was great. When I was a kid, pop music and rap music was at its peak. Now, I'm never going to be that person because I really enjoy pop music right now. I really enjoy the rap music right now. I think it's really good. I just saw outfits last night. I saw interviews before the Grammys last night, and I don't relate. I don't understand. I don't understand the lingo. I don't understand the slang. I don't understand the cool hip jargon. I definitely don't understand a lot of the outfits. And so I just felt old. I thought, oh my gosh. When I was in my 20s, I remember seeing bands dressing weird, but feeling like I could relate to it a little bit, thinking, oh, I could go to this store and try to match that outfit. Now I'm like, where do I get a boa? Do I need a lime green boa like Harry Styles? Do I need a lime green boa and a blazer with no shirt underneath? Okay, cool. I don't know how to pull that off or where to get it, but I guess that's what I'm doing. I just felt they felt unrelatable to me, but still seemed super cool. All the musicians still seem super cool. I did see two things from the Grammys last night. I was pumped about. Taylor Swift wins Album of the Year for Folklore, which was a fantastic album that everyone needs to have in the repertoire. It's so good. She is so good. I was pumped she won that. And also, my Skateboarding 2020 album won Rock Album of the Year. I was so excited. I didn't realize the Strokes had never won a Grammy. And the Strokes are one of my top 10 favorite bands ever. I love the Strokes. They had a new album come out last year in the quarantine called The New Abnormal. And it was on heavy rotation for me in the skateboard days of last year, where I would get out and listen to the Strokes, feeling like I was in New York, just feeling like I was a cool New Yorker, feeling kind of grungy, feeling sweet in my skateboard. I really go to a mental space when I'm listening to music, and that was kind of the album that I listened to a ton last year, and I was pumped they won for Rock Album of the Year. I never quite think of the Strokes as a rock band. I guess when I think of rock band, I think a lot more screaming, a lot more anger, a lot more heavy guitar. They're kind of a cool rock band, the kind of rock that I like. So congrats. The Strokes won album of the year for an album that or rock album of the year for an album I love. Taylor Swift won for Folklore, which is an album I love. So it was fun. It was fun to look at the award winners today, realizing I couldn't quite stay up late enough to watch anything, and now I've got to go watch performances because I guess the performances were wild, and I'm excited to go see what happens. Did they do WAP on the awards last night? That's really bad. Okay, that's it for today. I went longer than I wanted to on Gonzaga basketball talk, but thank you for listening. I will tell you this week podcasts, they'll all, I'm trying to get some people on this week. It's a weird week for me. It's a weird week. My wife and my daughter leave tomorrow to go on vacation with my wife's mom, which is going to be the greatest week of my daughter's life, period. She is going to have the most fun she's ever had in her 1 year and a couple months of living on this planet. I'm hyped for her. I'm going to miss them. So it's going to be a weird week for me because I'm bachelor starting tomorrow through Sunday during the first week of March Madness. Oh no, what am I going to find? What am I ever going to do? I am a creature who loves my alone time more than anything. I love it. So I'm hyped for this week because I've got some things I want to try. Number one, I want to get my griddle going to try all the foods that are either too spicy for Anna or too risky to try for a first time on her and waste dinner. So if you have any cool ideas that you've cooked up that you use either a griddle for, or maybe you use just the cast iron inside the house or pots and pans in the house, something cool. This is my testing out week. This is my test recipe week. That sounds, is that the most 40? I'm 39 going on 40. Is that the most 40-year-old thing? Hey, I'm home alone for the week. I'm home alone for the week. Send me your recipes. There's where I'm at. If you wanted to know where I'm at in life, there's where it is. But this week is about a couple things for me. Catching up on any video games I haven't been able to dive into because we've now rewound time. Catch up on any video games I need to catch up on because my daughter is not a gamer yet, and so when we're hanging out all day, she's not sitting there going, let's try out The Witcher 3 finally beat that. So I got to get caught up on some games. I want to test out a couple recipes. I want to try to master one cocktail before this weekend's tournament games. So I've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to master a cocktail that'd be good to sip on and maybe have if there's some people who come over for some games. I want to try to master a drink that I can make for that. So I don't know what that's going to be yet. I don't know what a good basketball day cocktail is, right? I'm normally just grab any mixer that's in my refrigerator, from apple juice to Dr. Pepper to milk to ranch, and then the liquor, and just dump them into a plastic cup and then just drink it. Maybe ice, maybe not. That's normally where I'm at. But I thought, let's get a little bit more. Let's up the game a little bit. This is the week I want to try that. I want to try that out. So it's going to be a weird week. I think I'm going to get some guests on for the podcast this week just because my schedule opens up a little bit when Olivia's not in the house. So maybe a little heavy on the guests this week on the podcast. Either way, thank you for tuning in. My Instagram is at Sean T. Widmer. My Twitter is at Sean T. Widmer. If you have a go-to cocktail that you like, especially for day sipping, that's what I'm looking for. I would love that. Number two, if you have, again, old person talk, if you have a good potential recipe, like a cool spicy food recipe that I can try this week, let me know, because this is my week of spicy foods. Here's the deal. When I'm not eating frozen pizzas this week, I would like to try some spicy recipes because my wife is not a spicy recipe gal. So this is my week to test that out. And yeah. Oh, and then let me know any criticisms on the podcast. I always like that too. At Sean T. Widmer on Twitter, at Sean T. Widmer on Instagram. Thank you for everyone who's hit the review button on iTunes the last couple of weeks. It means a lot. Tony, thank you for the sweet, kind, sweet words you left on your Instagram or your iTunes review. That was very nice, very sweet of you, because you are way better at this than I am. So when the better folk say something nice about your podcast, that means a lot. Anyways, that's it for today. And when I say that's it for today, that's been 20 minutes of your life you just spent listening to the Sean Widmer podcast. We'll do it again tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone.